Hello, and welcome to my channel, Ari's Games. I'm Ariadne, and today we're gonna play the Books of Morrowind, because I finally caught up to where I left off after episode 8. So that means Mondays in Morrowind is back, and we will be continuing the plot on Monday. So today I have a book that I ended up keeping called The Four Suitors of Benitah. And I'd like to read that one first before we do anything else. So let's do that. The Four Suitors of Benitah by Joel Yolevis. Up until he was 10 years old, Owen Parnafakis? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Alright, so Owen was in an elite group of the very best families of Nessus. They went to the very best tailors, shared the same tutors, played in the same exclusive company. When his mother died and his father discovered that the money they had been living on was based on a thief's salary, he suddenly found himself on a very different kind of society, one that he had been ill-equipped to deal with. They were poor. Owen eventually learned to make a living at the only skill he seemed to be well suited for, gardening. In time, he had grown an impressive garden of willow anther, gold cannet, chokeweed, white bloatroot, and trauma shrubs. He had also grown himself into a remarkably uninteresting man. Aside from his gardening, he had little to say for himself. Unlearned, uncharismatic, unathletic, uncoordinated, and yet he yearned. Specifically, he yearned for a girl he had known before all his trouble, a sweet thing with curly locks and a joyous laugh named Benitah Gorgoth. Once, when at play, he had pushed a bully away who was trying to hurt her, and the look of appreciation she gave him was enough to make all his days since then worth their while. As he tended his garden one springtide, not very many years ago, he heard some people talking through the thick, tall trauma shrubs about the marriage of Sidora Indoril Pavlek Mamuna, one of the wealthiest and most respected nobles in Nessus, and Sergio Benitah Gorgoth. His heart fell. She had found another, a mere 9 years since she had given him that look while at play. As spring turned into summer and summer into fall, Owen began to sell his herbs, including some to Kenna Yekin Bael, a prominent healer in town. He had been a tutor to both Benitah and Owen, and told the young man that the lady's husband was not very well. Owen held back his happiness and continued on his errands. Not long afterwards, Sidora Indoril Pavlik Mamuna fell ill and died, despite all the skills of the great healers, including Yakin Bael. When Owen came to deliver the herbs that day, he said, "If you are still in communication with Benitah, please give her my sympathies." Chow. Okay, said Yakin. If I could get a word in with all her counselors, they are trying to find her a new husband, and she has made it clear that she will only marry the strongest man in Morrowind. Who is that? Asked Owen. Horath the Strong, replied Yakin. It is said that he can lift a wagon with but his forefinger and thumb. You can teach... Oh my goodness, it did it again. I'm barely touching the mouse and it's skipping the... I don't know why it does that. I'm sorry, guys. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own strength, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Very well, replied Yakin. But in return, I want your next season's worth of trauma root, all to myself. Owen agreed, and Yakin taught him the spell to fortify his strength. It took him some time to master it, visualizing magicka streaming through his body, pumping through the very fibers of his muscles for a time, giving him strength far beyond the puny power nature had intended. When Owen met Horath in the street of Nessus, he cast the spell and challenged him to a duel of strength. I am Horath the Strong, said Horath the Strong, predictably. Witness as I lift this wagon with but my thumb and forefinger. And he did so. I am Nimlam the Mighty, said Owen, taking some artistic liberty. Witness as I lift the stable that houses your wagon with but my forefinger. And he too did so. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The strongest man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bael. Her lady Benitah has heard of the strength of Nimlam the Mighty and has said that she was mistaken. She was not looking for a man of strength to marry, but a man of intelligence, a great scholar, the greatest in all Morrowind. I'm thinking Yakin is saying that. Yeah, okay. Who is that? Asked Owen. Kenna Warfield Tomasin, replied Yakin. It is said that he can best any man or woman in a battle of wits. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own intelligence, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Very well, replied Yakin, but in return I want your next season's worth of white bloat root all to myself. This is gonna end badly. Owen agreed, and for the next couple of weeks, Yakin taught him the spell that trained him in its use. He taught him how to entrench his mind for the sudden assault of awareness and aptitude that would assail it, how to give himself to the sudden thoughts and theorems that would invade his consciousness. When he met Warfield Thomason in the Mages Guild in Nisus, he cast his spell and gave the challenge. I am Kenna Warfield Thomason, and I can prove that Akatosh, Nirn, and Oblivion are one, said Warfield, writing out the mathematical formulae that showed it was so. I am Kenna Zombo Mukafa, and I can prove that you do not exist, said Owen. He wrote out the mathematical formulae, which proved correct, and Kenna Warfield Thomason vaporized on the spot. Oh gosh. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The most intelligent man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bael. Oh no. Her lady Benitah has heard of the intelligence of Kenazambo Makafa and has said that she was mistaken. She was not looking for a man of intelligence to marry, but a man of endurance, a rock, the greatest in all Morrowind. Who is that? Asked Owen. I would say Master Kambova, said Yakin. They say he can stand in blue flames for 20 minutes. Here we go. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own endurance, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Very well, replied Yakin, but in return I want your next season's worth of chokeweed all to myself. Owen agreed, and for the next several weeks he learned the spell to make his endurance like that of the oldest stone. He learned how to shrug off the effects of frost, poison, fire, and charges of lightning, pulling the pain into a reservoir of magicka and expelling it. The lesson learned, he came across Master Kambova at the Madak trade house. My name is Master Kambova, said the fellow, nudging the witch next to him. Kina Lilas cast a ball of blue flame for me, and he sat in the inferno of flame for 20 minutes before he left. Master Kambova, my name is Master Vomf, said Owen. Kena Lilas cast a ball of blue flames for me. Owen sat in the inferno of blue fire for very nearly an hour before he left. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The toughest man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bael. Her lady Benitah has heard of the endurance of Master Vomp, he said, not entirely approving of Owen's latest sobriquet, and has said that she was mistaken. She was not looking for a man of endurance to marry, but a man of agility, a nimble acrobat, the greatest in all of Morrowind. Who is that? Asked Owen. I would say Funkrazot Prif, said Yakin. They say he is the greatest shield blocker and pickpocket in Morrowind. You can teach me a spell that will fortify my own agility, said Owen. I beg you to teach it to me now. Oh no. Very well, said Yakin. But in return, I want your next season's worth of gold kanet all to myself. Owen agreed, and Yakin taught him the spell that would fire his impulses with magicka. Over several weeks, he learned how to supplant his own natural energy with the spell, how to view the world at the slower pace a man with advanced agility sees. In time, Owen came upon Funkrazot in a field outside the city, doing his regular exercises. Owen cast his spell and approached the acrobat. Ah, behold the power of the amazing Funkrazot Prif, said the aforementioned, and prompted his sparring partner to attack him with his sword. He blocked the blows effortlessly with the shield for 10 minutes, and then revealed afterwards that he had pickpocketed the young man's purse. Very impressive, Sir Prif. Now behold the power of the remarkable Gazuf Moog, said Owen, and prompted Prif's sparring partner to attack him with his sword. After 20 minutes of blocking the man's blows with his shield, he revealed that he had pickpocketed Funkrazot Prif's purse. The word went out quickly throughout Morrowind. The most agile man alive was in the province. Owen went to visit his friend Yakin Bael. The door was closed this time, and he heard voices within. Have you heard about the remarkable Gazuf Moog? Yakin Bael was asking. He sounds like a very promising suitor. The truth is, Kenna, that I have no more interest in him than I had in Nimlam the Mighty, Kenna, Zumbel, Makafa, or Master Vomp, replied a feminine voice that seemed familiar to Owen. I will have to invent a new test for suitors while I search for my true love. You don't wish to marry the strongest, most intelligent, toughest, most agile suitors? Asked the old healer. No, not at all, said the woman. I had to make some kind of test to rebuff the advances of so many men interested in my money and the money of my late husband. The truth is, I've never forgotten the young boy who was so kind to me when I was a little girl, and so brave fighting off the bullies. His name was Owen Parnophakesis. Owen burst into the room and was reunited with Benitah. They were married at once. A week later, he returned to Yak and Bael and learned how to fortify his personality in exchange for next season's worth of willow anther. Then they lived happily ever after. Well, at least that had a good ending. Wow, that's something. Okay. So I was gonna look for the poison song. I have my notes ready.
What do you want?
For going after them. Part of me thinks, should I go to Ulas Manor first? I know where that is. Oh, in that case I need to go this way. Yeah, I'll go to Ulas Manor first.
Is there something
So yeah, that was cute. It was a little bit repetitive. That was kind of annoying, but it was very cute. I'm glad they found each other. Oh, I meant to say something. There was a bit of a technical difficulties the other day. So I was not able to play Song of Horror, but I will definitely be playing that next week. So while you're waiting for that. Alright, let's see. I want to go this way. Trying to remember. No, this way. Where the water is. Oh no. I think it's past the water. I think there's a bridge. There's a bridge. Oh, okay. Let's go down there. Oh, I knew that was gonna hurt. Oh, I can't get up on there. Oh my goodness. How am I gonna get up there? Oh, there's the bridge. I should have just taken the bridge. Okay, this way. Oh, I'm fighting. Hold on. Ow! I gotta sell some stuff while I'm at it. So what happened was I ended up going back to my save that the game had reverted to about a month ago or however long ago it was. What? Oh, that was weird. Okay. I hope I find it. I looked at it once a couple weeks ago, and this might be it actually. Hold on. It was pretty close, but I don't know if this is it or not. Oh, it is. Okay, let me save real quick. I'll be right back. Now, the issue here is, this is a Hlalu Manor, so if I am caught stealing these books, I get kicked out. So hopefully they'll be somewhere where there's not a lot of people. Maybe I should just sneak all the way. Oh, that's just a pile of see this one book. Hold on. Anticipations, okay. I reached level 5, but not while helping Netherless this time. And I get that amulet back again. I might as well keep it. You know? I got it 3 times now. It's determined to stay with me, so I guess I'll keep it. Oh,
Walk with virtue, Outlander.
Jesus, you scared me. Oh, there's the books. Ah, got them. Awesome. Ooh. I'm glad she left the room. Thank you, lady. You're very pretty.
Walk with virtue, Outlander.
I know, I walk with virtue all the time. I steal stuff and kill people. It's awful. Oh, I don't need to do this. I just need this. Alright, now on to Suitors Mora. Let's see. I do have some... No, I don't have any books to sell. I can put them away, though. I'm not going to read Progress of Truth right now because it's part of the main quest.
If you care to talk.
Well, it's part of any quest. Any books that are part of a quest, I'm gonna save for the main game. Cause I don't want people to miss out on it if it's part of the game. I can tell them more information about what's going on. Ooh, I had a dream. Oh, this is. Huh. In your dream, a tall figure with a golden mask greeted you, saying, "There are many rooms in the house of the master. Be easy, for from the hands of your enemies I have delivered you. It seemed you had died and could see yourself laid upon a table lit by candles. But with your own hands you touched the figure, and the figure drew breath, opened eyes, and rose from the table. Then the room was gone, and the world filled with light, and you awoke." Oh, wow. Okay. That comes from doing the Vivek quest, helping Holia and Indiranir. Let me try again. Another dream. You dreamed that a tall figure with a golden mask spoke to you, but you understood not a word. He smiled and seemed pleasant, but when he reached to touch you, it terrified you, and you tried to escape, but you couldn't move. You tried to cry out, but you couldn't make a sound. The figure kept smiling and talking, but you felt sure he was trying to cast some sort of spell on you. When you woke, you couldn't recall how the dream ended. Oh, wow. Alright. Well, our health is better, so...
Well met.
We are going to Suitors Mora. And I'm gonna get Divine Intervention while I'm here, because I know one of these, unless I have it already. No, I don't. I can't remember if I had gotten it or not. One of these 2 down here has it.
If I can be of any assistance, I'll be happy to
I
help.
think it's this guy back here.
I
Yeah.
see I stand in good company. What can I do for you?
A Divine Intervention. And I'm gonna get this Purge Magic and make a spell with it later. Because, Dispel is a very important spell to
If you
have.
care to talk, I would consider
It helps you
a
get rid of any, magic effects on you, good or evil, but still, if you can get rid of bad effects on yourself, that's pretty useful. And there's a kind, you can also dispel other people, like if they have advantages magically, you can, you can dispel their spells too. Alright, I know where one of them is, and I'm gonna save it before I take them. I was very lucky sometimes around Fairness when I had to redo her quest, and I managed to do it again somehow.
May your kills be quick and many.
Alright, let's go.
May I have?
Ah! Alright, so I had done this before it canceled on me and I wasn't able to set up, what's it called, upload the video. I basically just stole it right in front of him and he didn't do anything, so hopefully that happens again. See? He doesn't do anything. He just stands there and says, I'll deal with you, and then I don't get a bounty, so... And I'm over encumbered. Nice. Let's drop this. I don't need that. Alright. I should have sold some books or, like, dropped them off or something. Oh well. I don't remember exactly where... hold on. Oh. Navila Araloth and Madron Uvel. Alright,
There's someone watching me, I can tell.
Madron Uvel. I think it's this way. Navila Araloth. Her house is kind of hard to find. I did this last time and we went all over town. I don't think this is it. Claros Gildren, no. It's gonna be Bertisa Romaine. Thurval Cerethi. Major he's following me with his eyes. Okay, here we are. Let's see that. And that. Ooh, acrobatics. Nice. I could definitely use some acrobatic skill. Sorry I stole from you.
Go ahead, Outlander. What do you need?
He still likes me. Okay, let me see. I weigh 175 out of 190. I have all but 2 books. Okay. So Navrila Araloth. I think I can go this way.
Wealth beyond measure, Outlander.
Maybe not. I don't know. What's this? That's a store. Let's see what's up here. Anise Solid. Okay. Milara Vidron. Maybe this one. Maybe this one. Yes. Let me say that real quick.
I'm waiting.
And she doesn't like me. Oh, she's following me. No! Oh, no. Can't get past her. I can't get past her. Oh, no. Here we go. Oh my god. Run up the stairs then. Hand to hand. That's not useful for me here. Although it would be useful in Oblivion. Alright. I think that's all the books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome. Let me recall. Oh no! Oh, I don't have enough magic. Okay. Hold on, I can fix that. There we go. Alright, I know it's crazy, but I'm gonna go to Aldroon so I can drop off
Do you
the
have something
books
to say, Outlander?
and read 2 of them. I'm gonna read Poison Song 1 and 2, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Poison Song 1 is pretty long.
This is unexpected.
But it's very good, so we're definitely gonna read it. Oh, true. This is where I keep all my stuff, my books that I don't want to sell. No, not that one. I'm gonna 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then Benitah I'm gonna sell. Oh, don't sell that. Or that. Hold on, guys. We're almost there. Alright. I had a lot more books than I thought I did. Alright, so let's read Poison Song 1 and 2. By Briston Zell. It was beginning again. Even though everything seemed serene, the last embers crackling in the hearth, young servant girl and her child slumbering in a chair by the door, a tapestry half finished against the wall, waiting to be completed tomorrow, one of the moons visible through a milky cloud outside the window, a lone bird out of sight in the rafters, cooing placidly. Tay heard the first chords of the song strike dissonantly somewhere far away. The bird in the rafters croaked and took flight through the window. The baby in the girl's arms woke and began to scream. The song swelled in intensity, yet still remained subtle and stately in tempo. The movement of everything seemed to take on the rhythm of the music, as if strange choreography had been staged. The girl rising to the window, the clouds reflecting back red from the inferno below. Her scream, all muted, consumed by the song. Everything that came thereafter Tay had seen so many times, it had almost ceased to be a nightmare. He did not remember anything of his life before coming to the island of Gorn, but he understood that there was something different in his past that set him apart from his cousins. It wasn't simply that his parents were dead. His cousin Benitah's parents had also died in the war. Nor were the other housemen on Gorn or nearby Mournhold unusually cruel to him. They treated him with the same polite indifference that any Indoril has for every other 8-year-old boy that got underfoot. But somehow, with absolute certainty, Tay knew he was alone, different, because of a song he always heard in his nightmares. That's not a very good sentence. You're certainly imaginative, his Aunt Elia would smile patiently before waving him away so she could return to her scriptures and chores. Different? Everyone in the world thinks they're different. That's what makes it such a common sentiment, said his older cousin Concordus, who was studying to be a temple priest and had a firm grasp on paradoxes. If you tell anyone else that you keep hearing music where there isn't no music to be heard, they'll call you mad and bury you in the shrine of Sheogorath, his uncle Triffith would snarl, before striding away to attend his business. Only his nursemaid Ediba would listen to him seriously, and just nod with a faint look of pride, but she would never say another word. His cousin and chief playmate Benitah was by far the least interested in the stories of his song and his dreams. "How tiresome you are with all this, Tay," said Benitah. After lunch in the summer of his 8th year, she, and a younger cousin Vaster walked into a clearing in the midst of flowering trees. The grass was very low, barely up to their ankles, and there were big black piles of leaves from the previous autumn. "Now, shall we get back to it? What shall we play?" Excuse me. Tay thought for a moment. "We could play the Siege of Orsinium." "What's that?" asked Vaster, their constant companion, 3 years their junior. Orsinium was the home of the orcs, off in the Rothgarian mountains. For hundreds of years it kept growing bigger and bigger and bigger. The orcs would come down out of the mountains and rape and pillage all over High Rock, and then King Dwal of Daggerfall and Gaiden Shinji of the Order of Diagna, and someone else I forget from Sentinel, all joined together against Orsinium. For 30 years they fought and fought. Orsinium had walls made out of iron, and try as they might, they couldn't break through. "So what happened?" asked Benitah. "You're so good at making up things that never happened. Why don't you make it up?" So they did. Tay was the king of the orcs, perched up in a tree they called Orsinium. Benitah and Vaster played King Dwal and Gaiden Shinji, and they threw pebbles and sticks up at Tay while he taunted them in his most guttural voice. The three decided that the goddess Kinnereth, played by Benitah in dual role, answered the prayers of Gaiden Shinji and drenched Orsinium in a torrent of rain. The walls rusted and dissolved. On cue, Tay obligingly fell from the tree and let King Dwal and Gaiden Shinji mangle him with their enchanted blades. For most of that summer, the year 675 of the First Era, Tay was nearly insensible by the power of the sun. There were no clouds, but it rained most every night, so the vegetation on the island of Gorn was bewilderingly lush. The stones themselves seemed to glow with sunlight, and the ditches burned with white meadowsweet and parsley down. All around him were soft smells of flower and tree untroubled by wind. The foliage was purple-green, blue-green, ash-green, white-green. The wide cupolas twisting cobbled streets and thatched roofs of the little village of Gorn and massive bleached rock of Sandal House all were magical to him. Yet the dreams haunted his nights, and the song continued whether he was awake or not. Against Aunt Eliza's admonishments, Tay, Benitah, and Vaster had breakfast outdoors every morning with the servants. Elia would hold an interior breakfast for herself and any visiting dignitaries. Guests were rare, so she often ate alone. At first the servants would dine in silence, attempting gentility, but they broke down and would regale the children with gossip, reports, stories, and rumors. Poor Arnyle is laid up with a fever again. I'm telling you, they're cursed, the whole lot of them. Pee on the fairy and they pee right back on you. Doesn't little Miss Starsha look, just a wee bit tighter on the belly region lately? She's not. The only servant who didn't speak at all was Tay's nursemaid, Ediba. She wasn't pretty like the other maids, but the scars on her face did not deform her. Her poorly set, broken nose and her short hair gave her a certain alien mystique. She would merely quietly smile at the gossip and look at Tay with almost frightening love and devotion. One day after breakfast, Benitah whispered to Tay and Vaster, "We have to go to the hills on the other side of the island." She had used such imperatives before and always had something wonderful to show. A waterfall tucked away behind ferns and tall rocks, a sunny grove of figs, a discreet still some peasants had set up, a sickly oak twisted into a kneeling human figure, a collapsed stone wall that they imagined was thousands of years old, the last refuge of a doomed princess they named Morella. The three walked across through the forest until they came to a clearing. A few hundred feet beyond, the meadow sank to a dry creek bed filled with small, smooth stones. They followed that into the dark woods where trees canopied high over their heads. Sporadic red and yellow blossoms burst along the moist underbrush, but they became rarer and rarer as the children marched on under the umbrageous oaks and elms. The air crackled with birds oh my goodness. That one word made me screw up. The air crackled with birds ticking a staccato choral piece, a minor's chord of the song. "Where are we going?" asked Tay. "It's not where we're going, it's what we're going to see," replied Benitah. The forest surrounded the three children completely, bathed them in its tenebrous hues, and breathed on them with wet chirrups and sighs. It was easy for them to imagine that they were within a monster, walking along its twisted spine of stones. Benitah scrambled up the steep hill and peered through the thick mass of shrub and tree. Tay lifted Vaster out of the creek bed and climbed out, gripping soft grass for support. There was no path through the forest here. Brambles and low-hanging branches struck at them like the claws of chained beasts. The cries of the birds became ever more stentorious, as if angered at the invasion. One limb drew blood on Vaster's cheek, but he didn't cry out. Even Benitah, who could pass like an ethereal creature through impenetrable forests, had a braid catch on a bramble, ruining the intricate pattern a servant had woven hours before. She paused to pull out the other braid so her bright, unruly tresses fell freely behind her. Now she was something wild, a nymph guiding the other two through her woodland domain. The song began to beat like a wild pulse. They were on a shelf of stone below a cliff overlooking a tremendous gorge. Staring over an expanse of cinder, it looked like the scene of a tremendous battle, a holocaust of fire. Charred boxes, weaponry, animal bones, and detritus too annihilated to be identifiable littered the ground. Speechless, Tay and Vaster stepped into the black field. Benitah smiled, proud that she had finally found something of true wonder and mystery. "What is this place?" asked Vaster at last. "I don't know," Benitah shrugged. "I thought at first that it was some kind of ruin, but now I think it's a junk pile. Just not like any junk pile I've ever seen. Just look at this stuff." The three began an unorganized survey of the dusty mounds of refuse. Benitah found a twisted sword only lightly blackened by flame and began polishing it to read the inscriptions on the blade. Vaster amused himself by breaking brittle boxes with his hands and feet, imagining himself a giant of unbelievable strength. A battered shield attracted Tay. There was something about it that reverberated with the sound of the song. He pulled it out and wiped its surface clean. "I've never seen that crest before," said Benitah, looking over Tay's shoulder. "I think I have, but I don't remember," Tay whispered, trying to conjure the memory from his dreams. He was sure he had seen it there. Look at this, Vaster cried, interrupting Tay's thoughts. The boy was holding up a crystal orb. As his hand moved over the surface, brushing away grit and dust, a key in the song rose which sent a shiver through Tay's entire body. Benitah ran over to look at Vaster's treasure, but Tay felt paralyzed. Where did you find that? She gasped, gazing into the swirl beneath the crystal surface. Over in that wagon. Vaster gestured toward a heap of blackened wood, barely discernible from the other piles but for its cart spokes. Benitah began digging into the half-collapsed structure, so only her feet could be seen. The song built in potency, sweeping over Tay. He began walking over toward Vaster slowly. Give me that, he whispered in a voice he could barely recognize as his own. No, Vaster whispered back, his eyes locked on the colors reflected in the heart of the globe. It's mine. Benitah dug through the remains of the wagon for several more minutes, but she could find no treasures like Vaster's. Most everything within was destroyed, and what remained was commonplace by any standards. Broken arrows, armor shards, guar bones. Frustrated, she pulled herself out into the sunlight. Tay was alone at the edge of the great gorge. Where's Vaster? Tay blinked and then turned back to his cousin with a shrug and a grin. He went back to show everyone his new plunder. Did you find anything interesting? Not really, said Benitah. We probably ought to get back home before Vaster tells them anything that'll get us in trouble. Tay and Benitah started the walk back at a quick pace. Tay knew that Vaster would not be there when they got back. He would never be returning home again. The crystal globe rested snugly in Tay's satchel, hidden under a pile of junk he had picked up. With all his heart he prayed for the song to return and drown out the memory of the gorge, and the long, silent fall down. The boy had been so surprised he hadn't even time to scream. Yeah, that's very dark. Let me put that one away. Yeah, that's 2. I'm gonna read it in a second, but I gotta get myself a little drink of something. My throat's dry. Okay, one more book, and then we'll be done for the day. Poison Song 2 by Briston Zell. Tay felt no guilt, which frightened him. All through the long, fast walk away from the gorge, through the woods, across the dry creek bed, he chatted merrily with Benitah, fully aware that he had just committed murder. Whenever his mind strayed from the conversation and he thought back on the last moments of Vaster's short life, the song would soar. He could not think of the boy's death, but Tay knew he was responsible. You're a mess, cried Aunt Elia the moment she saw the 2 children emerging from the woods onto the grounds of Sandal House. Where have you been? Didn't Vaster already tell you? Asked Tay. The scene played itself out as Tay knew it would, every dancer in the song performing their steps as choreographed, Aunt Elia saying that she had not seen Vaster, Benitah not yet frightened and making up an innocent lie about the threesome not having strayed far, saying he must have gotten lost. A slow but steady rhythm of panic intensifying as night began to fall, and Vaster had not yet returned. Benitah and Tay tearfully. He was surprised how easy it was for him to cry without feeling, admitting where they had been, and leading Uncle Triffith and a crowd of servants to the junk pile in the gorge. The tireless search through the woods as night turned to dawn, the weeping, the light punishment merely cries of anger that Benitah and Tay suffered for losing their young cousin. It was thought from their stricken expressions that the children felt guilty enough. They were sent to bed at dawn while the hunt through the woods continued. Tay was drifting to sleep when his nursemaid Edaba came into his room. The look of unwavering love and devotion had not left her eyes, and he sank gratefully into his dreams and nightmares with her holding his hand. The song wafted almost imperceptibly through his consciousness as he again had the vision of the room in the castle, the girl and her baby, the bird in the rafters, the dying fire, the sudden explosion of violence. Breathless, Tay opened his eyes. Edaba was stealing out the door, softly humming the song to herself. In her hand was the crystal globe from his satchel. For a moment he hesitated, about to cry out. How did she know the song? Was she aware that he had murdered another boy to get the globe? Somehow he knew that she was helping him, that she knew all and loved him and sought only to protect him. The next day and the next week and the next month were all the same. No one spoke very much, and when they did, it was to suggest new places to look for the missing boy. Everywhere had been searched thoroughly. Tay was curious why they never looked in the gorge, but he understood how inaccessible it was. A side effect of Vaster's absence was that the tutorial sessions with Kina Gafrisi took on a more serious, even academic quality. The younger boy's high spirits and meager attentiveness had always cut the lessons short, but sensible Benitah and quiet Tay were ideal pupils. He was particularly impressed by how focused they became during a rather dry history lecture about the heraldic symbols of houses of Morrowind. The crest of the Hlalu features a scale, he sniffed disdainfully. They say that they see themselves as the great compromisers, as if that were something honorable. Many hundreds of years ago, they were the tribesmen following Resdain, who chose, "Pardon me, Kenna," asked Benitah, "but what is the crest with the insect on it?" "You don't know House Redoran?" asked the tutor, lifting up one of the shields. "I know you have a sheltered life on Gorn, but you're surely old enough to recognize." "Not that one, Kenna," replied Tay. "I think she means the other crest with an insect." "I see," nodded Kenna Gafrisi, brow furrowed. "Yes, you would be too young to have ever seen the crest of the sixth house, the House of Dagoth. Our enemies, together with the accursed heretical Dwemer in the War of the Red Mountain, now totally destroyed thanks to Lord, Mother, and Wizard. That house was a curse on our land for millennia, and when at last their pestilence was snuffed out, the very earth itself breathed a cloud of fire and ash in relief, bringing night to day for over a year's time." Benitah and Tay knew they could not speak, but they exchanged knowing glances at one another as the tutor enlarged on the theme of the great wickedness of the Dwemer and the House Dagoth. As soon as the lesson ended, they walked silently out of Sandal House until they were far from all ears and eyes. The afternoon sun stretched out the shadows of the spear-like trees surrounding the meadow. Off in the distance, they could hear the sounds of the workers beginning their preparations for the autumntide harvest, yelling to one another unintelligibly in coarse and familiar accents. "That was definitely the symbol on that shield you found at the garbage heap," Benitah said at last. "Everything there must be a remnant of the House Dagoth." Tay nodded. His mind was on the strange crystal globe. He felt the light vibration of soundless music touch his body, and knew he was discovering a new cadence of the song. "Why would our people have burned and discarded all that?" he asked thoughtfully. "Do you think the House Dagoth was so evil that everything associated with them could have been cursed?" Benitah laughed. At the height of day, all talk of curses and the evil sixth house were pure supposition, something to add romance to one's life, but nothing to worry about. The two children walked back to the castle for yet another in a series of cold, quiet dinners. As the night fell, Benitah looked through the treasures she had picked up in the junk heap. By the light of the moons, the small jars, the torque with orange gemstones, the bits of tarnished silver and gold of no obvious purpose, all took on a sinister aspect. Revulsion overtook her feeling of admiration instantly. There was a strange energy to them, a tincture of death and corruption that was undeniable. Benitah ran to the window and vomited. Looking out to the dark open lawn below, she saw a figure below lighting an arrangement of candles in the shape of a large insect, the symbol of the House Dagoth. When it looked in her direction, she pulled back, but she saw the face illuminated by the tallows. It was Ediba, Tay's nursemaid. The next morning, Benitah left the castle grounds early, bearing a large sack filled with her treasures. She carried them to the dumping ground and left them there. Then she returned and told her Uncle Triffith what she had seen the night before, leaving out only what had made her sick in the first place. Oh, which was the item she had taken. Okay. Ediba was banished from the Isle of Gorn without discussion. She wept, begging to be allowed to say goodbye to Tay, but all believed that would be too dangerous. When Tay asked what had become of her, he was told she had to return to her family on the mainland. He had grown too old for a nursemaid. Benitah never told him what she knew, for she was afraid. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's some dark stuff there. That's gonna be all for now. Yeah, sorry. Just making sure. Sorry, I'm thinking. I will be back on Friday with another episode of Oblivion, and then Mondays in Morrowind, of course, will begin next week. And I will do Song of Horror, the library section, that week as well. So, like this video if you enjoyed it. If you're enjoying the story, I hope you are. I very much love this story. I don't like it quite as much as The Locked Room, but I do like it a lot. I do plan to find all kinds of books. I have a whole list that I'm going to collect over the next several weeks. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next game. Bye.